Arya Dane turned 20 on a quiet morning under Earth's skies, but her heart was anything but quiet. While most of her friends were busy with birthdays, jobs, and simple joys, she stood on the balcony of her family's apartment, staring at the stars. For her, the birthday meant only one thing. She was finally old enough to apply for the exchange, Voyager's program, a bold project that allowed young humans to travel and live among alien civilizations. The program was famous across Earth. News channels often showed smiling young men and women, shaking hands or tentacles, or wings, with aliens from worlds humans could barely pronounce. Some people saw it as a dangerous experiment. Others saw it as a chance to prove humanity belonged in the galaxy. For Arya, it was destiny. She whispered into the cold morning air, "I don't want to just live. I want to feel everything." Arya's family had always been careful. Her mother worked in a medical center, her father in planetary logistics. They respected science and safety. At dinner, they often reminded her that humans were still the young species in the galactic community. While aliens had sailed the stars for thousands of years, humans had joined only 50 years ago. "Don't rush," her mother always told her. "You're still fragile. The galaxy is too big for us." But Arya never agreed. She believed fragility was exactly why humans should leap forward. Every scar, every failure, every risk, it all meant proof of being alive. She didn't want to stay on Earth, watching the stars from behind glass windows. She wanted to step into them. The application process for the exchange voyagers was not simple. Thousands applied every year, but only a few hundred were chosen. Tests measured physical endurance, mental focus, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. Aliens valued more than numbers. They wanted companions who could learn and share, not just survive. When Arya arrived at the training center, she was nervous but excited. The building was full of banners showing alien symbols mixed with human writing. She passed a group of other applicants. Some whispered nervously. Others sat with heads down, revising facts about alien biology. Arya did not revise. She watched the test center's ceiling, a dome painted like the night sky. She smiled. She had dreamed of this moment for years. The first test was simple. Walk into a simulation chamber and face an alien environment. The walls glowed, and suddenly Arya found herself standing on a desert under two suns. The air was thin and her body struggled for breath. Her throat burned, her chest ached. But instead of panicking, she closed her eyes and thought, "So this is what it feels like. Harsh but real." She slowed her breathing, forced herself to adapt, and took small steps. When the simulation ended, the instructor raised an eyebrow. "You didn't panic?" "I wanted to know what it would be like," Arya answered simply. The instructor wrote something on his tablet without replying. Other tests followed. In one, she had to solve puzzles while strange harmonics filled the air. Many applicants covered their ears, unable to think. Arya tilted her head and listened carefully. The tones hurt, but she imagined them as alien voices, maybe even music. That thought gave her calmness, and she solved the puzzles without fear. At the end of the week, names of selected voyagers appeared on the main screen in the hall. Arya's heart beat so fast she thought she might faint. Then she saw it, her name glowing white among the chosen few. She laughed, loud and clear, ignoring the stares around her. "I'm in. I'm really in." Her parents were proud but worried when she returned home. Over dinner, her father tried to hide his concern. "You know, Arya," he said softly. "Aliens don't think the way we do. Some see emotions as weakness, others, well, their worlds can kill us without trying. Are you sure you want this?" Arya met his eyes, her voice steady. "Yes, because that's the point. If it's safe, then I'm not really living. I want to feel what they feel, breathe what they breathe. Even if it hurts." Her mother sighed but reached across the table, holding Arya's hand. "Just promise us one thing. Promise you'll come back." Arya smiled, her eyes shining with stars. "I promise to come back. But I won't come back the same." Training began soon after. Arya and the other voyagers stayed at an international space academy near Earth's orbit. It was a massive station, filled with human and alien instructors. For the first time, she met aliens up close. Her favorite was a tall, silver-skinned being from the Harmony species. They had no mouths, but their bodies shimmered and produced sound waves that formed language. To humans, it was like listening to a violin mixed with whale song. On the first day, the Harmony instructor greeted them with a rising wave of sound. The translation device announced, "Welcome, voyagers. Here you will learn not only to survive, but to connect." Arya felt goosebumps rise on her skin. She wanted to applaud, but instead she simply whispered to herself, "Yes, this is what I came for." Every day was an adventure. They trained in different gravity levels. They practiced eating alien foods, some bitter, some sweet, some so spicy her tongue felt like fire. Arya coughed and laughed while others spat the food out in disgust. "Why are you laughing?" one cadet asked her. "Because it's different," she replied. "And different means I get to feel something new." After months of training, the Voyagers were assigned to their first missions. Arya received her assignment with trembling hands. To travel aboard a living alien ship, crewed entirely by Harmony. Many humans feared such ships. They were not built of metal but of organic material, breathing and shifting like giant creatures. When Arya first saw it in orbit, she almost cried. It looked like a silver whale with wings, pulsing gently as if it were alive. She placed her hand against the boarding ramp and felt a heartbeat beneath her fingers. "Beautiful," she whispered. Inside, the walls glowed softly. Harmony voices filled the air, creating an atmosphere of gentle song. At first, Arya struggled to understand. Their sounds were not words but flowing tones. The translator helped, but sometimes it failed. Instead of frustration, Arya listened with her whole being. She hummed back, trying to copy the tones. The Harmony turned to her in surprise, their skin flashing brighter. They answered with a new sound, like a laugh made of music. From that moment, Arya was not just tolerated. She was welcomed. Life aboard the Harmony ship was unlike anything she had known. The ship's corridors pulsed with light, guiding travelers. Rooms shifted shape according to need. The Harmony taught her to speak by shaping her breathing into notes, and though her voice cracked, they clapped their shimmering hands in approval. Every night, Arya lay in her cabin, unable to sleep. She wasn't restless with worry. She was restless with joy. She had only just begun, but she knew this was what she had been born for. One evening, as the ship glided past a nebula glowing blue and gold, Arya stood at the observation deck with the Harmony captain. The captain's tones were deep like a cello. "Human Arya," the translator said, "you burn bright, but humans are fragile. Why do you reach so far?" Arya stared at the swirling lights outside. Her voice was quiet but firm. "Because I'd rather live 1 year feeling everything than 100 years feeling nothing." The Harmony captain was silent for a long time. Then their skin glowed brighter and the deck filled with soft rising music. Arya closed her eyes and smiled. For the first time in her life, she felt understood. Not just as a human, but as Arya Dane, the girl who turned 20 and chose to chase everything the universe could offer. Arya Dane had imagined many things before leaving Earth, but nothing could have prepared her for what it was like to travel among the stars with the Harmony. Every day felt like stepping into another world, another way of living. The Harmony ship, alive and breathing, was more than transport. It was a teacher, a friend, and sometimes even a challenge. The walls pulsed like veins, carrying light instead of blood. The floors shifted softly beneath her boots, as if the ship itself was guiding her steps. Arya often pressed her ear against the walls, listening to the heartbeat of the great being that carried them across the galaxy. It was slow, steady, calming. Sometimes she whispered to it, the way she once whispered to her dog back on Earth. "You and I," she said softly one night, "we both want to go farther." The ship hummed an answer, or maybe she only imagined it. Either way, she smiled. The Harmony themselves fascinated her most. They spoke in waves of sound, each tone rising and falling like a river of music. At first she struggled, but she practiced every day. She recorded her voice, played it back, and laughed when it cracked. One morning, the Harmony crew gathered in the singing hall, a wide chamber with glowing crystals that amplified sound. The captain invited Arya to join them. Her heart pounded, but she stood in the middle and tried to copy their tones. She made mistakes, sharp notes that wobbled or fell flat. But instead of frowning, the Harmony answered her with encouraging chords. She realized then, they did not expect her to be perfect. They wanted her to try, and that made her more determined. Their first stop was a world called Dryvax, known for its heavy gravity. When the ship descended, Arya felt the pressure the moment they landed. Her body grew heavy. Her chest tightened. She stumbled as she left the ship, her legs shaking under the invisible weight. The Harmony moved slowly too, their bodies adjusting with practiced ease. Arya clenched her teeth. Every step felt like lifting a mountain, but she refused to give up. She had dreamed of standing on alien soil, and now she would not let gravity steal that dream. She fell once, knees slamming into the ground. Pain shot through her legs. A harmony extended a shimmering hand, offering to pull her up. Arya shook her head. She pushed herself up, trembling, and whispered, "I can do this." By the end of the day, she was drenched in sweat, her muscles screaming. But she had walked across Dravax's rocky plains with her own strength. That night, as she lay exhausted in her cabin, she smiled to herself. "I felt it, every step, and I survived." Their journey continued to stranger places. On the world of Nareen, she was offered food that glowed faintly in the dark. The harmony explained through tones that the fruit was safe for humans. Still, it pulsed like a living star in her hand. She took a bite. Instantly, her vision swirled with colors. She gasped, seeing patterns in the air, waves of light moving with sound. She laughed out loud. "So this," she whispered, "is how you see the world." The harmony nodded in approval, their bodies glowing brighter. Her favorite moment came on Arios, a world covered in crystal forests. The air itself seemed to sing. When the wind passed through the crystals, it created harmonies that filled the sky. Arya stood among the towering crystal trees, her arms stretched wide, tears in her eyes. The sound touched her skin, her heart, her bones. She whispered, "It's like standing inside music." The harmony answered with their own tones, blending their voices with the forest. Arya joined in, her human voice rough and imperfect, yet full of joy. For a moment she felt part of something greater, something that included both human and alien. But not every experience was beautiful. Some tested her limits in ways she had never expected. When the ship entered orbit around Valara's storm, Arya felt a chill of fear. The gas giant below boiled with endless storms. Lightning flashed across its clouds like veins of fire. Even the harmony warned her, "Many avoid this place. The storms are alive, wild, endless." Yet Arya insisted, "I want to see it up close." They descended into the upper atmosphere where winds howled and clouds churned. The ship groaned under the pressure. The observation deck shook with every strike of lightning. Arya pressed her face to the glass, her heart racing. Outside, lightning danced across the sky in brilliant arcs. The sound was like 1,000 drums. She felt small, fragile, yet alive in a way she had never known. Her voice was almost a whisper. This is everything I wanted." The harmony captain stood beside her, silent. For the first time, Arya thought she saw respect in their glowing eyes. Days later, after they left Valara, Arya found herself alone in her cabin, thinking. Her muscles were sore from heavy gravity. Her mind still swirled from alien food. Her ears still rang with the crystal forest song. She lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time, she wondered if she was pushing too far. "Am I just chasing danger?" she whispered. The ship's hum answered her with steady rhythm. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply. "No," she said to herself. "I'm chasing life, and life means risk." Her alien companions began to notice her courage. At meals, they often shared tones that translated as the spark of the fragile flame. At first, she laughed, not sure what it meant. One harmony explained through music, "You are fragile, but you burn with will. That is your strength." Arya thought about that long into the night. Fragile, yet strong. Weak, yet brave. Maybe that was humanity's place in the galaxy. Not the strongest, not the oldest, but the ones who dared to leap first. Weeks passed, and her body grew stronger. She learned to walk in heavier gravity without falling. She ate foods that once frightened her. She even began to sing with the harmony in their own language, her voice cracking but confident. One evening, as the ship floated in quiet space, the harmony invited her to join their chorus. The singing hall glowed with crystal light. The crew formed a circle, their tones rising and falling in waves. Arya stepped into the center. Her chest trembled, but she lifted her voice anyway. It was human, imperfect, but filled with all the emotions she carried: joy, fear, longing, and love for the universe. The harmony answered, weaving her rough tones into their harmony. For the first time, she felt not like a guest, but like part of the crew. She closed her eyes, tears slipping down her face. "This is it," she thought. "This is why I came. To feel everything. To be more than myself." Later, as she stood alone at the observation deck staring at the endless stars, she whispered into the void, "I'm not afraid. Not anymore. Whatever comes next, I'll face it. Because I was born to feel it all." The stars offered no answer, but in her heart she already knew. This was only the beginning. The Harmony ship had traveled far from the safe lanes of the galaxy. Arya Dane spent her days learning, laughing, and daring to feel what most humans would never experience. She thought she had begun to understand her limits until the day disaster struck. It began quietly. A faint alarm echoed through the living walls. At first, Arya thought it was only another drill. She had trained for drills many times. But the ship's heartbeat quickened, pulsing faster under her fingertips when she touched the wall. The Harmony crew gathered in the control chamber, their voices tense, their tones sharp like broken glass. The translator spoke in urgent words. "Radiation surge," from the pulsar nearby. "Shielding weak. Systems failing." Arya's stomach tightened. A pulsar, she remembered from Earth's classes, was a star that spun and threw deadly beams of radiation across space. For most ships, the best choice was to stay far away, but they had drifted too close. The Harmony captain's tones shook the air. "We must repair the shielding core. Without it, this ship will die." The Harmony rushed to their posts. The ship groaned, its living body straining against invisible waves of energy. Lights flickered in the halls. Arya felt her skin prickle, her nerves buzzing like static. She realized she was already being touched by the radiation. "Stay here," one Harmony ordered. The translation was stern. "You are human. You are weakest against this storm." Arya clenched her fists. "I can help. I trained with you. I know the systems." "No," the translator repeated. "Your body cannot endure. You will collapse." She looked around the control chamber. The Harmony moved with speed, their shimmering bodies glowing brighter under stress. But she could see it, they were struggling. Their tones wavered. The storm outside was overwhelming even for them. Arya whispered to herself, "If I stay here and do nothing, I'll collapse anyway. At least let me collapse trying." The captain gave the order for a repair team to enter the reactor chamber, the heart of the ship's shielding system. The Harmony assigned themselves quickly, but Arya stepped forward. "Take me with you," she said firmly. The captain's eyes glowed dimly, the Harmony version of a frown. "Why human?" "Because I'm not here to watch. I'm here to live. And living means feeling everything, even the pain." The chamber went silent. The Harmony crew looked at their captain. Finally, the captain gave a low, deep tone. The translator said only, "Then you may come." The path to the reactor was like walking into a storm made of light. The air buzzed with invisible energy. Arya's skin stung. Her head pounded. Every breath tasted like metal. Inside, the reactor glowed bright, its core trembling with unstable energy. Sparks of radiation danced across the walls, making the living ship cry out in low vibrations. The Harmony spread out, working in practiced harmony. Their voices rose and fell in careful patterns as they adjusted controls and repaired damaged lines. Their tones steadied the ship's trembling systems. Arya's role was smaller. She was given a simple panel to stabilize, but even that made her head spin. The radiation pressed against her like 1,000 invisible hands. Her vision blurred. Her ears rang. She wanted to collapse, but she remembered her promise to herself. "I want to feel everything." She forced her hands to move. She touched the panel, its surface burning hot. Her nerves screamed, yet she did not pull back. She whispered aloud as if to the universe itself, "I can do this. I will not be the one who breaks." The panel resisted. Sparks leapt out, singing her fingers. She gritted her teeth, ignoring the pain. She followed the Harmony's tones, listening carefully, copying their rhythm with her movements. For one terrifying moment, the reactor flared, filling the chamber with white light. Arya's body shook. She felt like her mind was being drowned in sound, sight, and sensation all at once. But instead of freezing, she leaned into it. She let the overload wash through her. She imagined herself riding it like a wave, fragile but unbroken. Her voice rose, a raw human cry joining the Harmony chorus. It was rough, imperfect, but it carried her determination. The Harmony turned toward her in surprise, then added their tones to hers. Together, human and alien voices filled the reactor chamber. The ship steadied. The core stabilized. The alarm softened. The heartbeat of the ship slowed back to normal. When the work was done, Arya collapsed to the floor, her chest heaving. Her skin tingled, her eyes watered, her ears still rang. She was trembling all over, but she was alive. The harmony surrounded her, their tones soft and low. The translator's voice spoke gently. You endured the storm. Arya laughed weakly, her voice broken but full of joy. I didn't just endure it. I felt it. Her body shook with exhaustion, but her heart was light. She had faced the storm and chosen not to hide. She had chosen to live. After hours of rest, she woke in her cabin. The ship had survived. The Harmony crew had survived. She had survived. The captain visited her. Their tones were deep, slow, almost like a song of respect. Human Arya, you were fragile. Yet you saved us. Why? Arya sat up, her voice soft but steady. Because life isn't about staying safe. It's about choosing to feel, to risk, to endure. If I close my eyes every time it's hard, then I'm not really living. The captain was silent for a long time. Finally, their skin glowed brighter, filling the cabin with gentle light. Then perhaps it is not weakness, this thing you call fragility. Perhaps it is strength in another form. Word of her act spread among the crew. Some called her reckless. Others called her brave. But all of them knew one truth. When the storm came, the fragile human stood beside them, and she did not break. Arya walked the halls of the ship slowly, still sore, still trembling. But when she touched the walls and felt the steady heartbeat of the living ship, she smiled. She whispered, I felt everything, and I'll keep feeling no matter what comes next. The ship hummed in answer, carrying her voice into the endless stars. The Harmony ship drifted in calm space now, far from the storm that had nearly destroyed it. Inside, the walls glowed with steady light once more, the heartbeat of the living vessel strong and unbroken. But for Arya Dane, nothing felt the same. She had faced the fury of a pulsar and survived. More than survived. She had chosen it, embraced it, and come out changed. The Harmony crew treated her differently now. When she walked into the singing hall, their glowing eyes followed her. Their tones were no longer curious or cautious. They carried respect. Some even carried admiration. They had given her a new name among themselves, Flamewalker. The translator explained it one evening while she shared a meal with the captain. They call you this, it said, because you are fragile like a flame in the wind. Yet you walk into storms without fear. You do not hide your fragility. You let it burn. Arya stared at the steaming dish of alien fruit before her, her mind quiet. Then she smiled. Flamewalker. I like that. Word of her actions spread beyond the ship. When they docked at the station of Veyron's Rest, a hub where many alien travelers gathered, whispers followed her through the halls. Other voyagers, even from species much older and stronger than humanity, had heard the story of the human who faced the pulsar storm. Some looked at her with disbelief. Others with curiosity. A few with open respect. Why did you risk it? A tall, scaled alien asked her one afternoon, its voice deep and heavy. Arya tilted her head, smiling softly. Because I didn't want to only survive. I wanted to feel. The alien blinked slowly as if trying to understand. Then it nodded once, its scales shimmering faintly. Arya began to notice something strange. Younger aliens, the ones still learning or exploring, often came to her now. They asked her questions. What is it like to feel so much pain and still smile? Why would you risk weakness instead of protecting yourself? How do humans live without fear when everything in the galaxy is stronger than them? Arya never gave them long speeches. She always answered with simple honesty. We're fragile. We know it. But that's why every moment matters to us. Because we don't last forever. So when we choose to feel, we feel with everything we have. Her words spread among the voyagers. Some of them began repeating her sentences in their own languages, singing them in tones or carving them into memory crystals. Slowly, a new thought formed among them. Perhaps humanity's weakness was not weakness at all. Perhaps it was a different kind of strength. For Arya, the true test came not on a foreign world, but when she returned to Earth. The Harmony ship descended gently into orbit. The blue planet glowed below, familiar yet distant. Arya pressed her hand to the window, her throat tight. She had left as a restless girl who wanted to feel everything. Now she returned as Flamewalker. Her parents were waiting for her at the spaceport. The moment she stepped off the ramp, her mother rushed to her, arms wrapping tight around her. You're thinner, her mother whispered, holding her as if she might vanish. Your eyes? They look older. Arya laughed softly, hugging back. Maybe they are. I've seen things you can't imagine. Her father studied her carefully, his eyes serious. And was it worth it? Arya met his gaze without hesitation. Every second. In the weeks that followed, reporters asked for interviews. Universities requested lectures. Even government officials asked for her presence at meetings with alien ambassadors. But Arya refused to become only a story told by others. She visited schools instead, where children gathered wide-eyed as she spoke. She didn't tell them about glory or danger. She told them about the little moments. The first time I walked on a heavy gravity world, I fell flat on my face, and I laughed because even falling was new. The first time I ate alien food, it burned my mouth, but I laughed because it showed me how different and amazing the galaxy can be. The first time I sang with the harmony, I sounded terrible, but they sang with me anyway. That's what matters. Not being perfect, not being the strongest, but daring to feel. The children clapped, their eyes shining. Arya knew then that her journey had not ended. It had only begun. Months passed. Arya kept traveling, sometimes with the harmony, sometimes with other species. Wherever she went, she carried the same fire, the will to experience, to risk, to endure. On the world of Lyran, she stood beneath waterfalls that glowed with bioluminescent light, letting the strange liquid soak her until her skin shivered. On the frozen plains of Nerith, she walked barefoot in the snow, gasping at the cold but refusing to cover her feet until she felt every bite of ice. On the orbiting cities of the Veyari, she danced in low gravity, spinning until she could no longer tell where sky ended and stars began. Everywhere she went, she whispered the same promise, "I want to feel it all." And everywhere she went, people listened. Back aboard the Harmony ship one quiet night, the captain asked her a final question. "Human Arya, when you first left Earth, you wished to feel everything. Now you have faced storms, worlds, and wonders. Has your wish been fulfilled?" Arya looked out at the stars, her face calm. "No. Because the universe is endless, there will always be more to feel. And that's the beauty of it." The captain's tones rose in warm harmony, filling the hull. "Then you are truly Flamewalker." The story of Arya Dane, the girl who turned 20 and chose to feel everything, spread across worlds. Not because she was the strongest or the smartest or the most powerful, but because she was human, fragile yet unafraid. And she showed the galaxy that sometimes the greatest strength is the courage to embrace life fully. And on Earth, when she stood once more beneath the night sky, staring up at the stars, she whispered with a smile, "What's next?"